Hey guys.
Hi.
How you doing?
Hello.
Welcome to the Stupid Biscuits podcast. I'm your host. You do this every time, Alex. You do this every time. You always talk over me. I am your host, Shane Hinton, and with me in the background producing is the boss. So I need to behave myself this time. So no more mucking about, guys. This is the sixth. I can't remember. This is the fifth or sixth episode.
Simon, Winter, us again, Edward, and now this one.
So it's sixth.
Yeah, sixth.
This is sixth episode of the Producer Clear Biscuits limited series of podcasts following Luke and Alex on their amazing adventure of producing Reduce to Clear, hence the name. So with me today is Alex and Luke. How are you guys?
Pretty good.
Hello, pretty good.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, you still haven't had a haircut, Alex, so I'm a bit...
I have.
disappointed.
It's just
Have
I've had a shower and I haven't done it properly.
Oh, okay. I'm disappointed at that as well. I expect you to do your hair
Shane.
next time, okay?
All right.
I know this is a podcast, right, but I can see you, so I want you to make a bit more of an
Okay.
effort in the future.
I'm
Okay?
sorry.
It's all
Okay.
right. Luke, have a word off when we stop recording. All right. How are you, Luke? All right?
Yeah, very, very tired. Having made another film the past week, but it's just
Have
the
you?
life. Yeah, it's coursework, so it was a smaller scale, but it was still bigger scale than anything I've. It's like the middle ground between Unstable and Reduced to Clear, I think. Yeah, it's looking forward to sharing it. Got to work with some more familiar, not familiar, work with some of the same people I work with for Unstable, as well as working with Gareth, who's being DOP for Reduced to Clear. So it was good.
Yeah.
Probably
Is
not
it
stable
A-star
saying
material? Is it going to top mark?
I hope so, but who knows? Who knows? I'm very proud of it, but I'm also spending all my free time paranoid in the edit, going, continuity error, fix that color grading. So
Have you started
it
your new
may
podcast?
be in well. Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have.
How's that going?
It's going pretty good. Yeah, I didn't know
Yeah.
you knew about that.
I know everything, mate. I'm the Choose the Biscuit podcast. We hear everything.
And it is in Shrewsbury, so I should get the shop on the show sometime.
Yeah, definitely.
I won't say where, just in case they don't want to. But I've mentioned the show to them.
You have, yeah, do it. We'll have them on every time. But anyway, enough about you. Because I'm. What about you, Luke? It's just.
It is, isn't it?
I'm actually really excited about this one. I really am, because you've brought an amazing guest with us. Do you want to do your amazing intro? Are you gonna do your weird passing between you and muck it all up kind of intro?
Sure.
This is Ninette Finch, and she is an all-star member of our cast, and she's brilliant.
She's one of the UK's most prolific supporting artists, and we're very, very excited to have her on board. So, yeah.
Yes, we are.
That's the smoothest we've done, I think.
That is, yeah.
Oh, we're clean.
Well, it's nice to be a part of it. I was very impressed with all your organisation and the way you'd managed to get everything together. And I thought, well, somebody that can work that hard and organise that, because I know how difficult it is. You know, it's nice to be able to help them.
Yeah.
So that's why I joined you.
Thank you. We're very grateful for that.
Yeah.
It's great to have you on board. Do we want to jump straight into like the Easter egg thing?
I was just going to say we got brought on board via we brought you on board via a mutual friend, I believe, of Murianne, who gave us your details. And as soon as she'd mentioned Ninette, and I was like, that name seems familiar, and I googled it, I was like, oh my goodness, she's in everything that I love.
Everything.
Because I mean, I think one of your most well-known roles is Derek, and I just love that show so much. And so when even the concept, there we go. when even the concept of bringing Ninette on board happened, I was just like, she is perfect for the part that we have. And then she said yes. So yeah.
To be honest, but looking at Ninette's reputation, I think she doesn't know the word no. I think that's the problem. I think it's not because she particularly liked you. It's just because she just doesn't know the word no. Gets herself into all sorts of stuff. But Ninette, it's right. You've got a hell of a reputation, right? You've been literally, I mean, what is it, over 1,000 films?
Well,
You're being modest now.
It sounds. I mean, a lot of it is hype. You know, you don't want to believe everything you read. But when you think I've been doing this for over 20 years, so and I was, up until COVID, I was getting perhaps 100 days work a year. So,
wow.
I mean, some of them were on the same program. Most of them, you only get a couple of days on a program. So, it mounts up. But I mean, there's a lot of people in the business that have done far more than I have. They've been doing it all their life. I only been doing it since I retired.
Just something to do. so Ninette, what was young Ninette like? I always ask this because I love to find out, where people started and that sort of find out a bit about their life. So, where did Ninette sort of come from? What did you do when you were younger?
Well, I worked in a bank most of my life.
Oh wow, okay.
But I was always interested in the theatre. I went to the theatre a lot. I did a very little bit of amateur acting. Not really much, but I love the theatre, and it's quite interesting because I went to see the History Boys years ago when it came on at the National. I never dreamed that I'd end up with working with most of the cast that I saw on stage that day. I mean, I had no expectation of it at all.
Yeah. Wow.
Didn't you tell me at one point that you went to like the first performance of Les Miserables?
Yes, that's right.
That's so
ended
cool.
up in the film. That is
at the Barbican.
That is incredible.
At the Barbican. First, and the list of numbers was a separate printed sheet because I hadn't got it organised by the first night.
Wow.
That's amazing.
So
I mean,
and then you popped up in the movie.
Yes, well, I'm a pink blur at the bottom right-hand corner of one scene.
My sister's seen it over 50 times. She probably knows that pink blur.
Ninette, if I'm honest, you're in that film. You're in that much more than I am. So I would claim it. So yeah, I mean, obviously, you say that you started doing this after you retired. You must have seen quite you sort of seen it all, really, haven't you? Like through your life, right from sort of, you've seen the industry change, and transform to what it is now.
I mean, when I was younger, I couldn't have done it anyway because you had to be a member of Equity, or you had to have somebody that knew somebody who would get you into the union. It was definitely a closed shop.
Yeah.
But I started in 1999, and anyone can do it now. The trouble is that now there's far more agencies, there's far more people in the business, so the work is spread much thinner. You know. But
I mean, to be fair, though, I mean, I would imagine. I mean, I was to try and say this as respectively as possible, and please don't take it the wrong way. You kind of got a bit of a niche, sort of, with
swearing
being
old lady. It's my niche. I come on and I say F off and I leave.
But it is a bit of a niche because I mean, like somebody who looks like you and presents like you, like. I'd assume that the market's not exactly saturated in that. I mean, people that look like me, like they're probably 10 a penny, But yeah, I mean, look at that.
I'm lucky that I look good in costume.
Yeah.
I'm sort of I don't know if you put me in costume, I look as if I belong to it.
Yeah,
I don't.
Have you always sort of been like that?
To a fancy dress party.
Have you always been
always dressing up as a child? And
yeah.
And it's lovely now because I'm in my second childhood and can still dress up.
That's it. Do it. Absolutely, absolutely. Sleep when you're dead, can't you? That's what I say. You might as well enjoy it now.
There's a lovely sort of quote from a Sondheim song which will say, "There's a lot I'll have missed, but I'll not have been dead when I die."
That's true. Yeah. Yeah, that's very true. That. So, Ninette, like, obviously you retired. You worked all your life. You done your bit, and you thought, right, I'm done now. I'm retiring. That's it. Was it almost like immediately after you retired? Did you have a bit of a gap, and you're like, right, okay, I'm bored now?
I was doing sort of the odd part-time job, and that finished, and I wanted something to do, and my son, he used to do background work at one time, and he said, and I was always, what have you been doing? Where have you been? What was it like? And he said, you should do background work. And I sort of said, they never let me on a film set. They never let me do that. But cut a long story short, he persuaded me to join, and I started to get work. I think I got 10 jobs my first year.
Wow.
But
that is good.
Yeah.
Well, then it was pretty naff.
Oh.
but slowly I got more, there was less competition in my age group.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I can imagine.
And I enjoyed it. And so, I've had a ball.
I guess my main grasp of the concept of life as extras is probably that sitcom that Ricky Gervais did, Extras, about that. And I guess when you're getting into it as sort of a way of having something to do, does that make you kind of stand out more than those actors who are constantly fighting for a line or, trying to...
Well, you see, you've got to take extras with a pinch of salt. When I first started, background artists never got lines. I say an extra. Specifically, we're now supporting artists.
Yeah.
But most people don't know what you're talking about. If you say I'm a supporting artist, they think you've got, you're
a painter or something.
Picasso or something. So
it's like production assistant instead of runner. It just sounds a bit nicer.
But now you do get lines, but you can't ask for lines. If they want you to have a line, they'll do it. I mean, you never, ever talk to the stars when you're working. That's poetic license that Ricky Gervais was able to do because it was funny.
Yeah.
But, if you did it, there was one day and I was working, and I was very lucky. I was working with Michael Caine. And all I was doing was walking up and down the corridor, and he had a spare seat beside him. And while they were changing the lenses, he said to me, "Would you like to sit down?" And I sat down beside him. And he was very nice. And he, I don't say we talked, but he made a few sort of pleasantries. But had I sat down beside him without his invitation, I would have been off the set.
Really?
Because, I mean, if you work in a big organisation, you don't wander into the managing director's office and start chatting to him and say, "Oh, how are you today?" Sit on his desk and start chatting. I mean, they say out.
Yeah.
And it's the same, you're really mobile background.
Yeah.
And that's what you do. And to be honest, I had no expectations of ever getting into the foreground, let alone having parts,
Yeah.
And I'm just as happy still doing background because I like the work and I like the atmosphere.
Yeah.
I haven't got delusions of grandeur. I don't say, "Oh, I won't do background now." I don't do as much. And my agent would probably rather I didn't do anything.
Do you come across actors like that when you're doing extras work? You seem to, feel as though they deserve better.
It's just good fun. Are you still there? Because you all seem very quiet.
Yeah, there seemed to have been a freeze from I'm getting glitches. Oh,
I thought I bored you rigid.
So it's catching up now.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're pretty much caught up. You're lagging a little bit, Ninette, but I think we all are at points. So it'll.
It's just one of those things. Wow. Yeah. I mean, so Ninette, what was your first gig when you first went? All right, let's do some acting. What was the first thing what was the first job you got?
Well, first. Well, it's very difficult because all jobs have their own, nice bits. I mean, I was in Phantom of the Opera, and that was my first sort of big musical.
Yeah. Was that like an experience for you? Did you sort of like, were you like, oh right, okay, I need to sort of like brush up my skills here a little bit, like, or was it like you just sailed through it?
No, you just turn up and do what they ask you to. Really, I think most of it was in the audience, so you're just sitting watching what's going on. It's great,
Yeah.
And then I was in a lot of the Harry Potter films, which was, just getting onto the set. It was just it was amazing working on things like that, But I can't say I've got a favourite job or anything because
it's all fun.
Everyone's got its own nice points. Well, few of them you would rather forget.
I was just about to ask you. All right, let's go the other way then. Which ones? You don't have to if you don't want to. You don't have to tell me. But,
no. I mean, something like I did one night shoot where it was sort of below freezing.
Oh.
And we started at 2:00 in the afternoon and we finished at 4:30 in the morning.
Oh.
And it was cold.
Yeah.
In fact, we hadn't actually finished. We went in for a break and the AD looked at me and he said, "Would you like to go home?" And I said, "Yes, please." and when I looked in the mirror, my face, or even my eyeballs were pink with cold. I looked horrible. I don't think I've ever been so cold in my life.
Wow.
But you forget about it afterwards. It's like the dentist. Once it's over, you just, and it was an experience,
So Ninette, you've done, you worked on Harry Potter, Phantom of the Opera, some of these big films, and these big sort of sets, and these like huge movements. But obviously, I assume you've done a lot of these sort of smaller scale stuff, like Reduced to Clear as well.
Yes, I've done a few. I've done a few short films for people. Oh, I don't know where you are. I've lost you now.
Okay, we can still see you. Now.
Well, I'll take it that you're still there. I don't know where you've gone. Oh, there you are.
There you go.
I've done sort of short films. I did the 24-hour film challenge with somebody. I did a film for Kira Malik, Art Malik's daughter. So I've done little things like that, And
is there much difference for you then in your sort of position, being like extra or the supporting artiste, with regards to the bigger movements to the smaller ones?
Oh, I enjoy it just as much. I mean, if you do a student film or something like that, then you obviously get a better part. You get a chance to do more than you would in a film or a TV show, because you've got they ask you to do something.
Yeah.
So it's good experience that way. And
Is there something?
I mean, most of the time, as a background artist, you're not. You really only have to be yourself. You know, old lady sitting in a pub, old lady walking down the street, old lady in a care home. You know, it doesn't stretch you that much. But on the other hand, not everybody can be natural when they do it in front of the camera.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And that's the key thing, isn't it? It's making it look natural, so it's not forced, you know?
No. And I enjoy comedy, so a lot of the little comedy roles that I get, no agent would send an actress to do it anyway.
Right.
You know, you wouldn't get some of the, you know, bigger sort of artists just coming in for one line, you know, to be, I don't know, to be gunged or, you know, pushed over or tipped out of a wheelchair or something like that, you know.
Yeah.
So
how do you find doing stunts and things like that, like the odd little kind of gunging or falling? Like, how does?
Oh, I don't mind. I mean, you've got normally you've got a crash mat.
Yeah.
So if you've got a crash mat, it's fine. You know, I've been tipped out of wheelchairs. I've been electrocuted. I've died a couple of times. Had a couple of very touching deaths on Holby.
Please post this clip on social with no context. It just says I've been tipped out of wheelchairs and died a few times. And just no further context.
Wow. You've literally seen it all, haven't you, Ninette? Literally seen it all.
Pretty well, yes.
So do you think that that doing this sort of work and you know, it's quite taxing, isn't it? Obviously, you're saying you've been out, you're working out in the cold and that kind of stuff. It's stressful, it's long hours. And do you think that
I was up at 4 this morning to get to EastEnders.
As you do, you know.
As you do. But I don't think I'd be as fit and as with it as I am if I hadn't done that work.
Yeah, I was going to say,
keep you on your toes, and and also you get this tremendous adrenaline when you're working, which, you know, I don't think does you any harm, to be honest.
No, for sure. You remind me a lot of my grandma, if I'm honest, in that, because she is so much like you. She's like 74, something like that, mid 70s. But no, sorry, she's 80 odd. And she still, you know, does her ironing for the neighbours and a couple of the old guys that's around the village where she lives. Yeah. You know, she still does a garden, she still does all this stuff. And I'm like, Grandma, why are you doing it? You're in your 80s. What you're playing at? You can't be pulling weeds up. Like, what's wrong with you? And she's just like, she goes, I'll be doing that until I can't bloody move again, boy. You know, gives me all that. And she won't be told, you know.
Well, and the thing is, if you have to yourself as you get older, but once you stop, it's very difficult to start again.
That's exactly what she says. Because if I stop now, I'm not going to be able to do it. You know, and I kind of feel that myself on a sort of personal level. I mean, I'm only a young buck in this mortal coil, but like you know, even in my time frame, I've gone from a hands-on role into an office role now, and I can really feel the difference, you know.
Yes.
And I think you're right. I think as soon as you start slowing down, you start sort of stopping that, you're being active and that kind of stuff. That's when the decline starts, you know. And certainly for your age as well. I think it's brilliant that you're able to find something that you can keep. You know,
I'm very lucky, you know, so that I'm still fit enough to be able to do it, and that you know, people are still employing me.
Yeah. And I suppose you can just keep doing it while they're still employing you, I suppose, can't they? Yeah.
That's right. You know, I'll keep on as long as they want me.
Yeah. So, I take you got no plans to stop yet, then?
No.
So you're definitely going to be in Reduced Clear 2 then, yeah? Like,
well be, yes.
Luke, so let's move on to Reduced to Clear then. So do you want to just explain a little bit about Ninette's role?
Ooh, okay.
In fact, no, I'm going to, not Luke, I'm going to put that to Alex because he hasn't said anything yet.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Ninette's right. How much can we really say, Luke?
This is what I was
Probably
wondering.
not much.
Exactly.
Just
she's
say,
someone who
come on, and I go off.
she's someone who she's someone who comes into the shop to make a donation.
Okay.
That's probably all we can say.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what.
Cool.
That's it.
Good talk.
And I'm not even sure how, because we sent you a very early draft of the script. I'm not quite sure how much of her part was in the version we sent you, Shane. Because Ninette's part has got a bit larger since then. But yeah.
Okay. That's fine. So
the vague, considering we're making a regular podcast series of talking about the film, and then most things you ask us, I'm like, we can't say. To
be fair, this whole thing has all been about cloak and daggers so far. It's quite amusing. Smoke and mirrors and cloak and daggers. It's yeah.
But all productions are like that. You know, they don't want it known.
No, for sure. You obviously, you guys sort of got put together through a mutual friend.
Yeah.
So Luke obviously contacted you, Ninette, and I was just like, "Can you come in my film, please?" You know, it's this very small film. He's a young lad. You know, I mean, was it literally the script that sort of drew you to it, or was it just the brass neck that he had to come and ask you straight up, or like?
Well. No, but I mean, he was so professional about it, and he'd got, he knew what he was doing, and I know how difficult it is to get a film together, and so yes, it's nice just occasionally to sort of do something and help out.
Just slum it a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. No, I quite like doing sort of student films because, as I say, you get a bit more to do than normally.
Yeah, you
would get in general work, and yes, they're quite interesting. There's quite a few on floating about in the ether with me in.
Yeah,
and it's fun.
With you kind of saying that, how often, Ninette, are you kind of flicking through like TV or watching a film and you almost like forget that you've been in it, or you're watching something and you spot yourself? Like, does that happen that you're kind of you're working so regularly that you're just like, oh, there's me?
Yeah. The worst sort of incident like that was when my granddaughter went on holiday to the Canary Islands. And she said, I went into the hotel ground and I switched on the television, and there you were saying, I only came in for a packet of rubbers. Which is just what you want your granddaughter to see, isn't it? And I once was on a plane, and I was in the film that came up.
So you just sat there like.
I mean, do you often have like moments where people will recognize you out in public and kind of be like, "I've seen you somewhere," but
very, very rarely. When Derek was around, I got recognised a couple of times, but not many. I mean, I was on a massive advert on the tube, one of these huge things, and I was standing on the station, and there was me, life, larger than life and twice as ugly, and nobody came up and said, "Oh, look, that's you," and they were all reading the paper in the tube with me on the on the page, and nobody twigs because they're not looking for you, are they? They don't expect you to be sitting there.
You've got to really fight temptation to not bring that up, surely. Like it's got to be one of those things where you think, I really want to tell this person that there's me. And
was it?
No.
I think it was Tony Hawk. that actually kept. It was a string of. It happened all the time to him, where people used to go up to him and say, "You look just like Tony Hawk," and he'd be like, "Mm-hmm." And he was like, "Yeah, I get that a lot."
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, because people don't expect to see you.
No. So yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit starstruck because, like, as soon as Luke started explaining who you were, and I started doing my own sort of research and googling and stuff, I was like, a bit like Luke's, like, she's been in everything. Like, she's literally been in everything.
Alex and I think probably I'd say maybe something like once every week or so, we'll message each other watching something. We'll be like, I think that's Ninette. And we'll send screenshots. And yeah, I mean, I know I asked you, Ninette, recently about time, because whether it was you or someone who looked like you.
It does look like me, and it could well be, but
you're so cool. How you don't even recognise yourself.
I mean, if it's background, sometimes you just go in and you do it, and half the time they change the name afterwards.
Right.
You know, and I mean, I look at some of the things I've done. I don't remember that at all.
Well, the reason About Time is so largely important to me is that last year with lockdown, there's a whole community of podcasts called Movies by Minutes, wherein we analyse films in a minute by minute detail, like dedicate half-hour episodes to a minute of the film.
Oh, I see.
So we did. Myself and a friend did with About Time. I think we did 2 minutes at a time, and we just obsessed over that film and minute detail, and became so obsessed with every single part of it that it was just so odd that I was watching it a few weeks ago and I was like, never noticed that looks like Ninette could be there in the background. But it's such a wonderful, beautiful film. I've got like Richard Curtis sent me a copy of the script and everything, and it's just there's a corner of my room that's About Time obsessed. So the fact that you may have been in it is interesting to me.
Ninette, he's got about 8 copies on DVD.
Hang on.
I genuinely, I think he needs some help, because nobody needs 8 copies of the same DVD.
There was a reason for it, but now I just use them for props. It was when I was doing the show, people kept asking me, where can I watch About Time? And it had just got taken off Netflix. So whenever I saw the DVD in a charity shop, I'd buy it. Now it's been put back on Netflix, and I've just got a lot of DVDs of About Time.
And see if it rings any bells.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want a DVD, I'll give you one.
He's like, please take one of these off me.
if I'm boasting, and I don't know if this is actually in there, but I might be in Cruella for 2 seconds. The new Disney.
Wow.
Film.
Wow.
I worked on it, but I don't think,
Is it disappointing?
It was a very, very small role.
Right. Is it ever disappointing? Like, do you ever sort of feel a bit put out if you've done like a load of work and they don't actually use the footage?
The best work I've ever done is on the cutting room floor.
Really?
What's this one?
I had a scene with Paul Whitehouse in Nurse, and they never used it. And then I did the Tracy Ullman show, and I had a scene with Tracy Ullman. I was in one of her sketches, and they never used the sketch.
Oh.
And I was gutted about that because it was such a good part, and it was so funny, but they they don't use everything.
Do they notify your agent when stuff like that happens, or do you just find out?
No. Well, no, you find out when it doesn't go out. When it's not there.
When you watch it and you're like, oh.
Yeah. They did actually tell me about Nurse. They rang me up and said, we're really sorry, but we've cut that. But most of the time, you don't know whether you're going to be there. I never tell people, watch me in this. I always say, you missed me last night on such and such. Because people say, oh, let us know when you're on, but it's fatal.
It's like what I said. I think it was on the last episode. Peter Postlethwaite was another one. I used once to sort of was aware that he used to extra and stuff as well as act, if you know what I mean. You know, I started seeing him in the background of so many different films. He's just there, you know, because he's got a very distinctive look. You know, he has obviously, he's died now, but he had a very distinctive look about him, and so he would be cast for very sort of certain roles and certain sort of places and stuff, and you just see him, and I'll be like, he's there again, like he's there, and you know. It's weird how once you sort of, it's really odd, right? That extras, you're right, they kind of you kind of overlook them a little bit, but then you also notice them when they're not there. Does that make sense? Like it kind of, I find that the extras sort of make the scene, don't they? Like you said, that they're moving backgrounds, they're moving.
You've got to have them there.
Yes.
But most of the time, you're getting the actors from A to B. Because, you know, most of the drama takes place between the actors, the main characters, and then they leave the room or they leave the house or they leave wherever they are. And you're there to fill in the space. They walk down a corridor, you can see it once. It's a police station. It's an office. It's a restaurant. It's a street. And then, so half the time when you work on a film, you have no idea what it's about because all the action takes place when you're not there.
Yeah.
All you're doing is moving them from one scene to the next and setting the atmosphere. You know.
Just reading a couple of the comments of Al who sat in the background. He said, have you ever thought about doing some like Comic-Cons and things like that?
I was, at one time it was mooted that I might do a Comic-Con because I was cast as Augusta Longbottom in Harry Potter. You never actually see me as Augusta Longbottom, but I have the name. It went global when I was cast.
I was going to say when I googled you for some research, there was like so many Harry Potter wiki things.
I know.
I was like, I don't remember.
You would have seen me. I was in the fight. That was all.
So I guess I guess Harry Potter's kind of like Star Wars in a similar light that at Comic-Cons they have people who are like stormtroopers second from the back, and people so people would still be
I feel very guilty about being Augusta Longbottom because I feel I'm a fraud. Because I never actually did anything. But I do have a picture of myself in the costume.
Oh, that's enough. That'll do.
You know. So, you know, I'm hanging on to that name for grim death.
Did you have a larger part that was cut, or was it just that you were named?
I was just, I was very disappointed because I thought I would have had a scene.
Yeah.
Especially as I had to be, be put up for the role. But that happens quite a lot.
Both you and Simon, who we've got playing the manager in Reduced to Clear, have both got small named parts in Harry Potter movies then.
Yeah.
Because Simon was Fat Friar in the first Harry Potter.
The first three, I think, actually.
He was put down for the first three, and then he only did one, I think.
Okay.
They cut him. But
was that a bit like that with... Go on, Matt.
Ninette was also in Betweeners, which Alex McQueen did.
Oh, yes. That was good.
I noticed you so many times in that. It was mad. It was...
And I did Phone Shop. That was fun.
Oh, yeah.
That's one which I haven't seen, but people keep telling me to watch because of how it's totally quite similar to Reduced to Clear is, apparently. So.
It's Phone Shop is lovely. I did enjoy that.
So was Reduced to Clear a little bit like a reunion with a lot of the actors where you're like, you all right, Simon? How you doing, mate? You know, like...
I mean, we don't know yet.
Do you find that that with being in so many films as an extra, do you find that you start recognizing extras and you're like, oh, I do?
Well, you do get to know quite a few, and also crew. I do meet a lot of crew, and I get on quite well with the crew.
Yeah,
and so that's nice. You've got somebody to chat to.
even for myself, just starting to break into kind of the film circuit, being mostly, indie stuff, I've bumped into some of the same people on like just short things, just like obviously not so much now, but like networking events. It's like, oh, but that's the person I saw on that movie set the other week, and it's so kind of fascinating. I say that I've been to one networking event and one film set, but it was the same people. It was quite weird. It was different stuff, but there's certain people who are incredibly popping up everywhere and doing everything to break in. It's
yeah. Ninette, do you have a favorite genre to work in, or do you just like them all equally?
I do enjoy the comedy. You know, I like the comedy things, but to be honest, I usually enjoy whatever I do.
Oh, yeah,
you know,
yeah,
and everything's different. I mean, I've just finished The Great, and that was amazing.
Is
and that's not sort of, well, it's amusing, but you wouldn't call it comedy.
Is it are the sets different between genres? Like if you played obviously in a comedy, are the sets a bit more relaxed, or is it like, are they all stressful?
Comedy's good because the dialogue isn't set in stone. A lot of it is ad-libbing, or you. I mean, you can sometimes you make suggestions and they say, well, that's a good idea, we'll do that. And
that's good.
Quite a lot of the comedy programs, you've got one of the writers involved, so it evolves, and they say, oh, we'll do this. You know.
I do think that in that sort of context, that's a good idea, because in for example, somebody like yourself has got a vast experience of being extras and things like that. You've probably got a wealth of knowledge to bring to it as well. Because you say, well, actually, I could do that, but I could also do this. And
you don't normally make suggestions.
No.
I mean, you do what you're told, but you do it's a bit. You have a bit more license. I mean, when I worked on Derek, you had the script, and you would play the scene, but then when you got to when it finished, quite often Ricky Gervais would carry on with another line.
Yeah,
he would say something that wasn't there, and if you could keep it going, the scene would go on, and sometimes they would use it, sometimes they wouldn't. But you wouldn't get that in a scripted television or film. But if you're working with the writer, they'll say, oh, I tell you what, why don't we do this? Or if it's visual comedy, I was doing. Oh, it was lovely. We were doing a Paul Whitehouse show, and it was they were dressed as the Beatles, as old people. They all had white wigs, and we were the fans. They were followed by geriatric fans everywhere. All these old ladies going, Paul, Paul. And there's one part where they're in a taxi, and they said to us, I want you to hide behind the taxi. And I just said, I thought we were going to go, because they go in and go out the other side, and there's two Japanese tourists in there saying, oh, can we take your photo, as they're going through. And I just said, I thought we were going to follow them through. And they said, that's a good idea, we'll try that. And to my delight, they actually filmed it that way, with us all going through the taxi. But that's very rare that something like this happens. I mean, normally you do as you're told. Quite often they'll say to you, try it this way, try it that way. Can you do it more deadpan?
Yeah.
Because until you do whatever you're asked to do, they don't know what it looks like.
No, I know that
Yeah.
whenever I'm directing, it may be different with Producer Clear being the first time co-directing. There may be a different balance there, but I know that whenever I do a scene, and it's probably because when I'm directing is something I've written as well, I always make sure there's at least one take where I just say to the actors, like, deliver it how you want to deliver it. Add what you need to add, change the lines how you want to do it. We'll always make sure that we've got your version before I then go into could you do it that way or that way. And then because otherwise they'd be sat in the edit and thinking, oh, I wish I'd listened to so and so when they'd said that, because this
I mean,
better.
if it's a scripted television comedy, and normally you're not that important, so you just do it. But if you've got a part, they quite often say, you do it, and then they say, oh, can you do it this way? Can you do it that way? And then they say, oh, I like that, do that again. And you just keep your fingers crossed you'll be able to do it again.
I was going to say, you actually remember what you did in the first place.
Yes. Yeah, it can be, but sort of comic programs, it doesn't matter so much because the continuity isn't so important. In a dramatic scene, you've got to pick up the cut and do the actions spot
exactly
on each time.
Okay, so God, we've been going for 45 minutes already. That's gone quick, isn't it? So what we've been doing, Ninette, over the last few times when we've been having guests on, to be honest, you can blame Luke for this. This is Luke's fault. We started to do
it was winter first, and then it was me who said, that was fun, let's do it again.
So we do a little bit of it, just a quick improv. We take turns to do a little bit of improv. We just have a little scenario and we just have a bit of fun with it.
But we don't let Alex write the scenarios anymore, because last week, what the heck was that, Alex?
Yeah.
This is where it all goes to pieces.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, well, last week, Alex came up with this weird concept right off the top of your head about being in a spaceship with a monkey, and you had me play the spaceship for some reason. I don't know what was happening there. But,
I don't know. He had it locked and loaded ready, I think. It was a little bit disturbing, but it's not like that. So Alex has put to us. So the improv is some kid has barged into you and ran off with your bag. Best reaction wins. And I think I'm gonna, just because of the terrible performance last week with the suggestion for the improv, I think Alex should go first.
Sure. There's someone who's playing the kid.
Luke can play the kid.
Oh,
all right.
Okay. What?
Go on.
I'm nicking your bag. Am I saying anything? Am I not just?
Nah, just
bag nicked.
Just
budge.
Hey, that's not yours. Has my vitamin gummies in it, man. Come on, please.
Oi.
Oh, I'll buy you a new one, or we can do a swapsies or something. Oh, damn, my phone was in there. Please don't text my mom. Kid, bring it back. Kid, I got an interview in 20 minutes. I got to work at a charity shop. Oh, come on. Please, can I have that back? You're not even saying anything. Please.
I've gone.
He's gone. Yeah, he went ages ago.
I can't chase after you. I'm stuck in this room. Oh, please. Oh, whatever. Okay, kid.
Okay.
That's that.
And
Shopkeeper, another set of vitamin.
Alex is gonna go and cry now. Okay, I reckon Luke should go next.
All right, Alex, you're the kid now.
Okay.
You're the kid now.
Well, I'm taking this. And...
Wait, hang on.
No.
I can bribe you.
How?
Would you like a copy of a voucher?
About time. I knew you were going to say that.
No.
What about 2?
Don't. Oh, you drive a hard bargain. Any
3?
More? I'll take 4. Final deal. Final offer.
4?
You can have your bag back.
Hang on. How about 4 plus the official novelization, a copy of the screenplay?
I don't want that. I just want the DVDs. Just one hand on the DVDs, one hand on the bag. We'll do a trade.
All right.
Okay. On the count of 3. 1, 2, and I've taken those too. And now I can keep them in this bag. And
now I'm left with only the 1 DVD and my Blu-ray.
That's a shame. That's not my problem though, really. So, bye. And
you're probably the most polite thief I've ever heard in my life.
Well,
Okay.
at least both of you have not got anything particularly hard to follow up on. So-
I reckon Ninette should go next, and let's have Luke as the kid that's stealing the bag.
Oh, nicked. I don't know what else I do. Oh, nicked.
Come back. You can't take my bag. You can't. It's got my keys in it. What do I do? You horrible child.
You are horrible. You are despicable, Luke. I'm not even in the shop and you are evil. I don't want to talk to you.
I'm actually going to cry. Oh my God.
Yeah, I felt bad. This wasn't a comedy. I just felt bad.
Nick the bag and you felt
But
bad.
I tell you what, if you have something stolen, you don't actually say anything because it's so quick. And you just stand there and look and you think, I don't believe that. I had my phone taken out my hand by a couple on a motorbike.
I'm so sorry if this improv session is
I just stood there and
triggering memories.
I was saying, come back. I mean, it was stupid. They couldn't hear me. They were halfway down the road.
That sounds like the sort of
my phone.
I'm going to flat out
like
blame Al for this. I'm really sorry, Ninette. This is like...
I am so sorry. Would you like a case of PTSD?
Oh dear.
I'm very sorry, Ninette. Alex,
I don't apologise.
See, that sounds almost like a character you'd be playing in a film. Is like lady who's mugged from.
Oh yeah. I'm not sure if I had been mugged. I can't remember now.
There might be a reason for that.
Yes, it'll come if I had it. Yeah.
I feel awful. Moving on. Okay, so Ninette, what is, if someone, what's your pearl of wisdom when it comes to being an extra?
Well, the advice that I was given many years ago, I used to go to the National Promenade productions a lot, which was really just like being an extra because it took place amongst the audience. And I got friendly with one of the actresses there. And she said, when the audience is so close, you can't act, you have to be. And that is very true for television and film acting, not for stage, because stage you have to project. But really, all I ever do is I just put myself in the place of the person, and then I wait to see what happens. A lot of background people make the mistake of working out what they're going to do before it happens. And they religiously do that, even though it has nothing to do, it's completely at odds with the scene that's happening. And you always get a rehearsal. So I don't make up my mind what I'm going to do. I just react to what happens when the dialogue starts. And that way it looks realistic.
Yeah.
But if you know people and they say, oh, I'm in a pub, so I'll sit here and I'll drink my drink. And they will sit and drink and somebody will run across with a gun and they'll ignore it. But anybody else would look round.
They'll be like, what? Yeah.
If the director wants you to ignore it, he will say before you start, somebody's going to go through with a gun, but just you're not going to see it. You're going to ignore it. But otherwise, I try and react as I would do. If I'm crossing a road, all right, there's no traffic. Or, most of the time there's no traffic or only a specific car or something.
Yeah.
But I always stop at the curb and look right and left because you wouldn't walk out into the road without looking. Whereas a lot of people think, oh, I've got to go from there to there. So they just go.
Yeah.
And you know, so it's easy enough. I wait to see what the scene is, and then just react as I would as if. I mean, normally you're just a normal person. You're a passerby. You're in the pub. You know.
Yeah.
And you do what you would do if you were in a pub or you were walking down the street. You'd look in the window as you pass by. You wouldn't just walk straight down the road.
You're not robotic, are you? You know, you're gonna look at the sky.
If you're walking past shop windows, you would at least glance at one of them.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So you know, you don't just, if they say we want you to walk that way, you don't just walk. You've got to walk down the street as if you were walking down
a street.
The street.
Yeah. I remember kind of amidst my about time obsession, there was a behind the scenes clip of one of the main moments in the film is it's a big wedding scene, and it's just chucking it down with rain, and then they're under like a sort of, I forget the word, they're under like some sort of shelter, and it all rips down on them, and they're all soaked. I remember in the behind the scenes, like Richard Curtis saying, like, don't act like you've been hit by a bit of water you haven't been hit by. Like he says, just go for it. Because people will notice. And he just and you know, he says, like, you know, if you find it funny that the water's landed on you and you're not kind of shocked, then laugh. And you know, it's just and I think that's kind of definitely it. And the fact that that's a thing he had to say was the point where I started realizing, oh yeah, like it would make sense to people if they just scream that you're getting hit on by water, that they don't think to act.
See, if you act it, it's wrong.
Yeah.
You know, you don't need to act anyway, because you know you're just doing what you would do normally. You know, if you're in a hospital and they say, oh, go up there and turn left, you'd probably look at the sign above to see where you're going. You know, which way do I go? And then, you know, and if you're a visitor to a hospital, most people don't know where they're going. And even if they do, they usually check that they're going, you know, they've got the right corridor.
That's it. And maybe go through a door and then realise it's the wrong one and carry on walking. Like, that kind of thing. So, you know.
Well, you don't sort of, that's overdoing it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, you don't go, oh, this is the wrong door. Oh, no. Because you've been told. But you don't want to draw attention to yourself.
No.
But you just want to look natural. You know.
It's a bit of a skill then, really, isn't it? In some ways. It's not something you just walk in and do. It takes a bit of.
Well, it's all right if you use a bit of common sense and just don't try and act.
No, there's not much of that in the world.
Wherever they plonk you on the set, you know, just react. If you're in a charity shop, you'd be looking at the things on the shelves.
Yeah.
You know, you might pick something up and look at it. You wouldn't just stand there. Or you wouldn't sort of, but then you wouldn't go mad and wave things about and you know.
Yeah.
So,
again, that's probably me. I'll probably still do that though.
Well, then they just say, "Oh, can you go down the other end of the shop, please, and look at a book?"
In the corner.
Yes.
Where,
they're very tactful that way. if you're making a mess of it, or you're distracting from what's the action.
Yeah.
They just say, "Oh, I think next time you just go over there and see that book. Take that book out and look at it." You know.
Yeah. Boss man's back.
Oh, hello, boss.
Okay, I'm taking executive control here because we're running short on time. Ninette, where can people find you, first of all, before we do this? Where can people follow you on any social medias?
Well, I'm not very good. I'm not very good. I'm trying to come to grips with Instagram.
was
but
gonna say,
I've
I've
never
noticed
got
you
my head
posting
around
it before.
Twitter. I cannot.
Neither have I,
cannot
Ninette.
work
I can't.
out Twitter.
I can't do it. I can't do Twitter either. So
No.
you're not on your own.
I do put
okay.
your picture on Instagram, but that's about it.
Instagram is great for the line of work you do because you can be
Yeah.
like, I'm on this set, I'm on that set. Here's this, here's that. I mean,
Oh no,
I need-
you can't
Well, you
do
can say
that.
you're not going to be allowed to post any
You can't
photos.
post anything, not until after it's out in the media, or you get shot, or you never work again.
Actually shot.
Ninette, we
This
need
is
to
why
talk
it's
about
not a
your
very
Instagram,
competitive
Ninette.
field anymore.
Okay, so we thought we'd end this with Shane got out of improv very sneakily there. He was kind of like, oh yeah, moving on. So I thought we could do it so that, Ninette, I want you to hold Shane up with a gun and rob him. Okay? Let's see if we can get this done. And Shane, you got to panic. It's improv. Let's do this. What do you reckon?
Okay.
Excuse me,
Hello.
stick 'em up.
Yeah.
Don't move,
Whoa.
or I'll fill you full of lead.
Okay. Just calm down. Calm down a bit.
Lads, don't
Just-
you dare.
Just calm
They
down.
don't call
We
me
could-
Grandma Gunman for nothing.
Just calm down. Like, we can talk about this. What's going on? What's wrong?
You are the one. You pushed me off that bus, and I recognise you. I've been looking for you for ages.
I'm so sorry. I must have been in a rush. I didn't even.
There's no excuse. Nobody messes with me.
Well, you just do what you got to do. If you're gonna. Oh.
That felt uncomfortably natural.
Well, I'm dead now. That's happened in my life.
Yeah, there we are. There's a first time for everything.
Oh no, yeah, at least I've died once.
Yes, yeah.
This is twice in one episode that people have claimed to have died.
I know. It's
Yeah,
brilliant.
well, that's it.
So,
Actually, I died in an amateur theatre show once. So, Alex, you're the odd one out.
yeah, you need to
Yeah,
die.
I have
You need to
not
die at some
died.
point.
Yeah.
You need
Okay.
to die, Alex. So yeah. Right then, guys. Look, we've been going for over an hour now. We need to start wrapping up. Luke, do you want to do your plug-in?
Yeah, sure. I've got
Read 'em all
one
off.
very specific plug that I'm going to make today
Okay.
because this will be next Wednesday, right? So
Yes.
this is coming out. Okay, so if they think of this plug until Sunday, next Sunday, there's a very special episode coming out of my podcast, the Love Rosie podcast, analysing the film Love Rosie, 5 minutes at a time. Very special episode coming out that I can't say anything about, but just check it out.
Cool. Do you not want to do your socials?
Now just leave them with that.
Oh,
We're
okay.
at Love Rosie Pod on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram if they want to follow us to be reminded.
Okay. Mr. Yousefi.
Check out Mr. Middle Films on Instagram, all one word. That's where you'll find me and Luke. Like, that's our little. How do we like? It's our little joint page where we put everything to do with Reduce to Clear and other stuff.
Yeah.
That's it.
Is that it? And Alex is already laughing at me and he's putting me off. Stop it, Al. So we you need to do voice, there you go. That's Alex's.
Thanks, guys. That's my personal Instagram. It's a mouthful, so I just decided not to say it this time. But you've got me covered. So that's Riced by Daylight. Everybody, I had to say it. It's not a biscuit if I don't bring up Riced by Daylight.
Exactly. And we have a website too. You can find our content on the website. It's made for us by our friends over at Web Orchard, which is the shrewsburybiscuitpodcast.co.uk. All the content should be on there. And if you can't find the content, then drop us a message on Facebook. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and pretty much we're on Twitter. We're on Twitter. Have we even got Snapchat? Have we got Snapchat? We've got Snapchat. No, we haven't got Snapchat.
I've been on Snapchat for a year and I can't figure it out.
I can't figure out. Also, I do want to say we are hosting a 24-hour podcast to raise money for Lincoln Davis. That's been held on the 28th of September through to the
Nope.
29th.
Wrong. So from 9 a.m. on the 29th of September, I'm going to go live, and then I'm going to finish 9 a.m. On the 30th of September, which is International Podcast Day. We're going to be doing non-stop live 24-hour long podcast, 12 hours of the Shrewsbury Biscuit and 12 hours of You Suck, which is the other network I have. And the idea is to raise money for Lincoln Davis, which is a local cancer fund here in Shrewsbury. And the idea is to use all of the resources we've gathered around the world to try and help our local community. So
we are looking for sponsors and also guests. So yeah, hit us up. Drop us a message. I think there's going to be a form actually on the website, I believe.
Stupidly, I forgot to put the slide there for the actual event, but it's a proper sponsored event. Reach are sponsoring us completely. Lincoln Davis are on board. We have a venue. Thank you to Shrewsbury Town and the community for letting us use their Reach Community Hub. We're going to be there for 24 hours. It's going to be amazing. We've already got some amazing guests and things lined up for. So we're after donations. If you can donate something that we can auction off. We're also selling sponsored hours, so like we can do like this hour is brought to you by Ding, and we're selling that from a minimum of £50 donation. £50 if you want to trick us a bit more, you can do, but minimum £50 donation. All going to charity, every single penny. Yeah.
And of course, if you're short of guests, we can do a post-filming reduced to clear Biscuits catch-up, maybe.
Yeah, we need a reduced to clear live. I think we definitely need to do that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's it, isn't it, boss man?
Good.
Happy?
Yeah.
Good. I'm not going to get sacked this time then. I'll keep trying, Ninette. I keep trying really hard. You won't sack me.
Shane, you did a great job today. Genuinely, really well done. Well done.
Thank you for inviting me to join you.
No, it's been a pleasure. It's been an absolute honour. And you literally, when you did your improv, I genuinely thought I was going to cry. I'm not even ashamed to admit it. I flat out was going to cry. You're an amazing woman, and you remind me so much of my grandma. I want you to be my other grandma. So.
God, my daughter keeps. I've got quite a few people that call me Nan now, and she keeps saying, "Where are all these grandchildren coming from?"
My grandma's everyone's grandma. It's not grandma, it's grandma. So like she's everyone's grandma.
You should start doing Nan application forms, Ninette.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fill them out.
But guys, thank you for bringing Ninette on as well. Thanks, Luke and Alex.
Thanks, Ninette, for agreeing.
Yeah. And thank you guys, and peace out.
Peace out.
Bye.